everyone, just to let you know, I will be giving away this football when I hit 150 subscribers. It is signed by last season's Schnorr team, so just stay tuned for it. Hi everyone, I'm back for a brand new video, and I'm sorry I haven't been uploading as much. I couldn't get any videos, and this week we are joined by the legend Tony G. Gallagher. You started off your career at Celtic Boys Club when you were 13. What was the memories from this time?
Yes, Ryan, I started my career at Celtic Boys Club. Played there for 3 or 4 seasons. Great times, remember vividly, just joining them. I'd played in East Kilbride for quite some time. As a youngster, played with Kirkton Home West and East Mains Thistle, who the late Bobby McKean from Rangers, he was our manager, and he was a great inspiration. Used to come out and play down the park with you, with the ball when you're a youngster, and he was still at St Mirren at the time before he moved to Rangers. Even when his early doors at Rangers, he still come down, so he was as I say, a great inspiration, and for us wanting to play football. Joined Celtic Boys Club, was invited into trials, so I think there was about 70, 80 boys there. This Saturday we all went, so we stages with different games and whatever, so I had played obviously in one of them, and didn't actually play that well. However, at the end of the day, the managers and selectors had their names and asked us all in and cut the squad down to about 30 people, 30 lads in that time, and the 30 of us went to training for about 2 or 3 weeks. Then they eventually cut the squad again down to about 18, well, that was the final squad, and that was going to be the team for that season. With a very, very good side. Guys had been picked from different areas. It wasn't like your normal boys club team where most of the pals played together and we're from the one area. We had guys from all over the place. Remember, just guys travelling from Bishopbriggs, Tollcross just up the road as well, Cumbernauld. I was coming from East Kilbride, other guys Rutherglen, Cambuslang area, so it was a kind of big select, as you would like to say. Happy times there. Boys Club were very, very successful, won more or less everything that we went for. First year, funny enough, you mentioned the Scottish Cup, that I was captain of the under-13s. The first year, for whatever reason, we didn't have an under-12 Scottish Cup, so our bosses put us into the under-14 Scottish Cup, which was a big, big step, 2 years guys above us. So I remember, I think it was Vale of Leaving at the time, coming to Barrowfield and hammering us. I think it was about 7 or 8-0 they beat us, bigger guys, stronger, better football players as well, so we got a rude awakening that time after us winning so many games and by so many goals in our own league. They actually, they put us back in our place, as you would call it, and certainly gave us a lesson. However, the next year, under-13 Scottish Cup, as I say, in a League Cup, and we were winning everything again. Came to the Scottish Cup, and remember, around about that time, the quarter semi-finals, I do remember, we were playing against Fir Park. I was captain of the boys club, and Ali McCoist was captain of Fir Park, and Ali stayed in East Kilbride, as most people know. He stayed in East Kilbride beside myself, and we were always in opposition in East Kilbride. I was at St Bride's High School, Ali was at Hunter, and Coldwood, Blue Star he played for, and I was at Cuttenholm West. So we were always in opposition, but never ever actually played together in the one team, because even the selects that we had for East Kilbride, Cuttenholm West was in the south side, and Coldwood Blue Star would be the north, so we were always up against one another. But we played them in that semi-final and we beat them 9-0. They were, you know, supposedly smashing side, and they were a good side, don't get me wrong, but we beat them 9-0 that day in a semi-final, which was certainly well beyond our expectations, you know. So took us to the final. The final was against Whitehill Ackies from Hamilton, another really good side, and you know, we were told all about them, and you know, their star players and that kind of thing. We played them at St Roch's Juniors Park. That's where we played the final. It was St Roch's Juniors Park. Remember that, up at Proven Mill. And to us, playing at a junior park was a big occasion, you know, cup final, grass, and you know, it was brilliant. And I do remember that day before the game, the late great Jock Steen came into the dressing room to wish us all the best, and you know, just tell us to go out and play our own game and enjoy it was the most important thing that he emphasised to us. And we, you know, we did go out that day, played to the best of our abilities at that day, but as I said, Whitehills were a smashing side, and we were very, very fortunate to come away with a 3-3 draw. I do remember them being a far better side than us that day, even thinking going into the replay. The replay, I think, was on the Wednesday night or a Thursday night of, you know, the next week. And for some reason or other, them being a Hamilton side, they took the replay to Blantyre Vicks Park, at Castle Park, as they call it, and we played the replay there. But fortunately enough, we played very, very well. Might have caught them in a bad night, and we beat them 5-2. I think I scored a couple that night, and it was a great occasion. Obviously, as a young boy, lifting a Scottish Cup at any level was, you know, what you were really wanting to play football for. And you know, as I say, that was the start of us winning quite a few trophies, as I say, and with some smashing players there as well at the time. I remember correctly, Stevie Evans. Well, most people will know Stevie was Leeds United manager latterly. He's been at Shrewsbury, Crawley Town, Ayr United, Clyde, and I actually played with Stevie for a short spell when I signed for Albion Rovers. He was there for a couple of months before moving on. So Stevie was there. David Moyes, another smashing player, smashing guy. Big Davy came from Drumchapel. His old man ran Drumchapel Amateurs at the time. And he was another one, and needless to say, you know, done so well in his career, and certainly his management career as well. And, you know, Man United, and he'd been to Spain, and now West Ham manager. So, you know, great to play with these guys and see what they're doing now. Paul Fryer was another one. Paul Fryer, maybe not too many know. For whatever reason, Paul played at Leicester City, but I never really, you know, was always trying to monitor where they were and what they were doing, but I never really found out what Paul done after Leicester. But I do remember him playing one night at Anfield for Leicester, and I think we Ali Morecambe, Gary McAllister, the likes of the guys were all playing at the time, and they beat Liverpool at Anfield. And I thought, you know, for a guy, you know, that I'd played beside, and you know, what an achievement that is, and what a feeling it must have been to beat the mighty Liverpool at Anfield. And you know, so it'd be great for him. Stevie Cowan was another one. Stevie was from East Kilbride. Stevie, as I say, at the trials, he was staying in Tollcross. Him and Big Tam Donnelly used to come down together from Tollcross. Tam was another one, moved on to Hammonackies. Stevie ended up at Hibs and Aberdeen and had a great career. Could score goals for fun, Stevie. Smashing player, good lad as well. And ended up playing in Ireland. You know, so I was very, very fortunate, as I say, winning the Scottish Cup. You know, Celtic boys go under 13s, and you know, always lives in the memory. And as I say, to play with so many you know, guys that move on and done so well in their careers. It was brilliant, you know, just to see guys doing that and guys that you rub shoulders with. You know, aye, it really was fun.
Then you moved to East Kilbride and won the Scottish Junior Cup in 1983. What was your memories from this time?
Yes, Ryan. I moved on to East Kilbride Thistle after a boys' club. I was unfortunate, broke my ankle a couple of different times, and was out of the game for a wee while. Eventually moved on, as you to East Kilbride Thistle Juniors, where, you know, with a good side. I was very, very fortunate to be involved with so many professionals there. You know, great team, could get through. Ronnie Tracy, goalkeeper, and a lot of these guys went on to play senior as well. Ronnie Tracy, goalkeeper, John McClimate, right back, Eddie Campbell, left back, Kenny Gordon, centre half, Billy Beattie, sweeper, John Creakin, who was at Celtic Boys Club with me as well. John was in the middle of the park, Joe Riley, great pro, Tommy Dowdles, the late Tommy Dowdles, wonderful player. Gordon Stewart, a wee bit more experienced. Jim O'Donnell was brilliant up front. I was a striker at the time, played up front, and Jim taught me an awful lot. You know, how to look after yourself more than anything else. But no, I was blessed to have joined up with such a good side. Funny enough, the first season we played in the Junior Cup, I remember us going up to Brecon, played Brecon Vicks, hammered them off the park. They just really tore them to pieces. However, ended up losing 1-0 out of the Scottish the first year, as I said, I played in it. But as I say, the next season we went on and had a very good run. At the time I was playing not too bad at all, scoring a few goals, and there was a few teams interested. I'd been out on trial with a few, Motherwell, St Mirren, Kilmarnock, Clyde. Nothing really happened, but I remember going out with Airdrie and getting an injury. Albion Rovers had inquired about me as well, and playing in every game more or less up until that. Then, as I say, I got that injury out with Airdrie on trial, and I was out for a few months. But as I say, the Scottish Cup, no, that would be before that Scottish Cup that year. It was the year before. But yes, the Scottish Cup that year, we had a great run, obviously, going on to win it in the end up. A lot of the games lead up to that, first round we beat Lark Hall, Thistle, I remember, at the Show Park. Bayliston, played Bayliston away, beat Bayliston. Third round, Isle of Vale from somewhere up Aberdeen way, played them, and beat them as well, comfortably, 4-5-0. Quarter final, Sauchie, we played Sauchie. Remember big George Conley, one of the greats, played with Celtic in the 70s, wonderful player. He was playing with them, obviously. Had stopped playing at top level and was playing there, but he still had all the touches and the quality of him. You could see the man was a player when he played, so played them, beat Sauchie. Then the quarter-finals went to Arniston Rangers, beat them 2-1. And just before the quarters, I'd been out in trial to Albion Rovers, 2 or 3 games. Martin Ferguson, manager at the time, brother of Sir Alec, Martin had asked me to sign at Albion Rovers at the time, but I went out, as I say, and played three trial matches for them in the league and done pretty well in the three of them, and signed for Albion Rovers at that time while I was still an East Kilbride Thistle player. So that was me, and Martin wanted me to, he wanted me to go straight away to play with the Rovers, because it's now that I'd signed for the Rovers at Gallagher. The manager at East Kilbride at the time was playing me one week, not playing me the next, because he obviously thought I could have got, with all due respect to Albion Rovers, a bigger move. In other words, more money or whatever, or maybe more footballs or more sets of strips, I don't know. But yes, and I wasn't too happy with me signing at the Rovers. But anyway, I was still involved. After we beat, as I say, Arniston Rangers, I went into training on Monday night at Albion Rovers. Martin had said, I seen the paper, how he's done, how did you do? And I goes, I was on the bench again, just for the quarters. And he goes, right, that's it. You're coming to play with us, and that's you, you're leaving there. I goes, well, Martin, we're in the semi-finals now. I really don't want to miss that opportunity. I'm still 19, 20, just young, and it'd be a great opportunity for me to, win a Scottish Cup medal at junior level. So I decided, and we stayed on in semi-final. We beat Pollock in the semi-final at Love Street. Remember that game? 3-1. Big crowd there. And, Pollock were a smashing side at the time as well. And we ended up, as I say, in the semi-final that day, beating them 3-1. Came to the final. Moyes from through in the East. Moyes, who were doing very, very well in their own league that year and had a few good scalps in the Scottish Cup as well. So we knew we were up for a game, and the final was to be played at Ibrox. Rangers Football Club invited us in, both teams, just for a look around the park. I think it was the weekend before the final was. The final was played on a May Day holiday on the Sunday. And as I say, Rangers invited us in to have a look around the park. So we looked in the dressing rooms, and the first time I'd been in Ibrox, and what a place, unbelievable, smashing stadium. Looked after us that day, and Moyes didn't appear. They didn't come in to have a look or anything, so Rangers were a wee bit miffed with that. So on the day of the final itself, we get the home dressing room. Rangers really went to town looking after us, and the game itself, remember the lead up, went down to the show park in East Kilbride, obviously our home ground, trained there, and I was a wee bit pessimistic, if I'm honest, thinking at that time there was only there was 13 of a squad, 13 of the squad that played, 11 and 2 subs, and I knew myself, I'd been doing okay and playing well, and even coming off the bench and whatever, but there was guys there that had been at East Kilbride for years and they hadn't been getting a game, and I was really, really worried that Willie Egan, the manager, would maybe give them a last hurrah and put a couple of them on the bench or play them for a Scottish Cup badge. So I was a wee bit worried, as I say, the whole day, and even down at the training, whatever. But anyway, it went okay. Well, we had a training session. Nobody knew who the team was, what the team was going to be, and went in for a shower. After that, we all got changed and went down to the Rolls Royce Club in East Kilbride, where we had our lunch, and they very kindly looked after us and done as well that day. That's when we had found out the team, and I was on the bench along with Tommy Love, my good pal Tommy. So I was, obviously wanting to play, but under the circumstances, I knew this was going to be my last game, or one of my last games with East Kilbride Thistle, before I was officially moved to Albion Rovers. So that was, we left the Rolls Royce and the coach in there in East Kilbride. There was, I think there was about 17,000 there that day. In East Kilbride, all roads were leading from East Kilbride to Ibrox, you know, as we were coming away, you could see all the buses passing us, tooting the horns, and you know, it was just like professionals coming through East Kilbride, as I say, leaving the Rolls Royce and all the buses passing by and guys hanging out with the scarves. And remember my big pal Juicy and wee Gavin Shankland, they had a big drums with them and they were giving it loud all day, getting the support going. But I do remember, I mean, as I said, there was about 17,000 there that day. I do remember East Kilbride must have had about 12,000 of the support that was there. It was an unbelievable support, and as I say, a great day as well. So that was it. Game bonus. Wasn't the greatest game in the world. We won 2-0. As I say, I started on the bench. Only got on for about 20 minutes, something like that. But by that time it was 2-0. Wee Joe Riley had scored a cracker, and big Kenny Gordon, our centre half, had scored a header as well. So, you know, it was a comfortable 2-0, but as I say, not the greatest game in the world, but who cares in the final. Scottish Cup was coming back home to East Kilbride, and what a party we had that night. I wasn't a drinker or anything like that, but you know, we went back to East Kilbride Thistle Club. We had a big meal there. All the, you know, the VIPs were there to meet us, and back down to the show park before we went into the club, and that was mobbed with people. The whole Churchill Avenue all the way in through the village to East Kilbride, full of people jumping about, dancing, and one or two had a few beers in them. So that was a great day. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and that was us to the, as I say, had our meal and everything in the social club, and then that was us out with the cup, going round all the pubs in East Kilbride. I remember myself, I think it was wee Joe Riley, Ronnie Tracy, Bobby McPhee, going round. We were in the Monty, the Yeoman, Colwood Inn, Westwood Bar. We were all over East Kilbride, and you know, the cup with us were in a taxi, 4 of us in the back, into the pubs, straight up to the bar. They would fill it up with whatever they were drinking, whiskey, vodka, and I do remember coming out into the street being a drinker's paradise. You know, when we were coming out of the pubs every time, you know, they put bottles of whiskey or vodka, whatever it was, I said. And as we were coming out, it was still half full, this big Scottish cup. You know, just, it was litres that we were throwing into the gutter, into the curbside as we jumped back into the taxi and off to another pub, you know. But great night, ended up there, our local haunt, the Gemini at the time, of Gemini dancing. So that's where the kind of celebrations carried on into the early hours. As I say, I had a few sips of champagne, but I wasn't a drinker at the time, you know, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. And thankfully now I know what the old drink does, that I remembered all the day, no, certainly all of the night, by no drinking, and a wonderful day, and you know, live with you the rest of your life. But great days, and just seems like yesterday, but wonderful time, thoroughly enjoyed that.
Several years at Albion Rovers, then you moved to Snore. Why did you decide to sign for the club?
Yes, as you say, Ryan, after several years at Albion Rovers, moved to Stair Park, Stranraer. Main reason I moved there, just at the time, I'd been playing not too badly at Albion Rovers, and there was a wee bit of interest in me, signing wise, a few teams looking at me, allegedly. And I remember one night at training, I was one of the committee men, one of the directors at Albion Rovers, had said, "Oh, Tony, you've been doing well, blah, blah, blah. Guess who's wanting to sign you?" And at the time, Albion Rovers, we were down the bottom of the league. We were not a very good side at all. Ourselves, East Stirling, Stranraer, Stenhousemuir, we were always in the bottom 4. And not really, it didn't change too much every year. Just one of us would be higher than the other, or vice versa, whatever, you know. So one of the directors had said to me, guess who's interested? They've put a bid in for you, they want to sign you. So it was Stranraer. As I say, we're a team like ourselves, not an awful lot of money, down near the bottom of the league, and a long way down the road. Lots of times we'd went, well, lots of times, a couple of times a season anyway, with Albion Rovers down to Stranraer, and I'd been at the Rovers for about 6 years, so I travelled up and down that road and thought, my goodness, imagine playing for this. And I knew an awful lot of the boys that played at Stranraer at that time, and travelling from Glasgow, west of Scotland, up that way down to Stranraer, and you're thinking, my goodness, imagine doing this trip every second week, you know. So it was a bit of a, you know, eye-opener to me when the director had mentioned to me that Stranraer have put in a bid for me and wanted to talk to me. So, like everything, whether it's football, whether it's work in general, someone wants to talk to you, offer you something else, always listen. You always listen to them, you always go and have a word with them and you know, see what they've got to say. So Stranraer manager at that time, Sani McInnesby, he asked Ryan, you know, what was the reason that I left Albion Rovers to go to sign for Stranraer. Well, it was Sani McInnesby. Sani, I didn't know an awful lot at the time. I know he'd been Kilmarnock assistant manager. However, I knew he was manager of Albion Rovers, obviously, at the time, from going up and down and playing against them. But he had just taken over, more or less, that season. And as I say, we'd been down there and played them. And he asked me if I was interested in signing for Stranraer. So this would be around about 87, 88. And I was about to get married, 1988. So Sani, met with Sani, very confident person, you would say Sani was, very open, and his vision for the club, he sold to me superbly. He wanted to make Stranraer, with all due respect, had never been a so-called big club or up there challenging for honours. He wanted to change all that, and I was very, very interested in what he had to say. As I say, he sold the club to me very, very well, and he told me what he wanted to do. He wanted to sign new players. He wanted me to come as captain. He'd sold that to me. He wanted me to come as captain and build a team round me. So whenever anyone, you know, wants to do that, you know, rates, you know, he obviously rated me highly. It was you know, just very, very positive coming from Sani, and I liked what he had to say. Seemed to know the game inside out, which later years I found out he did, and he was determined to get me to come down and sign for Stranraer. So we spoke again. I met with him again. But this time Stranraer, Albion Rovers had put in a bid of £15,000 for me, and Albion Rovers had accepted it. Old Tommy Fagan, my chairman, was a man known, like most chairmen I suppose, to rely on, you know, and appreciated his money. So he was delighted to get the you know, the 15,000. Ended up obviously signing for Stranraer. So that was the start of a great 10 years for me down there. You know, the journey, got used to it. Stuart Marshall used to drive the bus, pick us up at the McDonald Hotel, and would drive us down to Stranraer, and the journey wasn't that bad. You'd read your papers, listen to music, get a sleep, and so that was me. So that was the start of my adventure at Stranraer Football Club, and one that I've no regrets whatsoever having taken. Was great for me, and as I say, thoroughly enjoyed it. So started 10 years down there.
I think the people in the town have got an awful lot to do with us enjoying coming down here so much. They make you feel like home.
Tony leaves tickets for most of them anyway.
Well,
so he feels
I
at
just
home at the rest
think
of us.
the boys think they always rub that into me about leaving maybe 150 comps out, but that's friends and family.
And you don't mind the travelling? I mean, what is it? Minimum 4 hours travel for a home
Travelling at
game.
night.
When you used to be, as I say, playing the clubs, coming down here beforehand, you used to say to one another, wouldn't like to come down here every second week playing for Stranraer. But I think you really do, especially when the weather's as pleasant as it is tonight. You do get used to it, really.
I need to disagree with that here.
No? I think,
worth
personally,
night,
I don't
You do
really
get
mind.
used to it.
They're a big part of Stranraer's history after winning the 94 league. Talk you through this season.
Yes, Ryan, I'm very proud to be a part of Stranraer history. We won the league 1994. 94, sorry. Yes, a great achievement, for a so-called smaller club. It was just magical, all the hard work that the boys had put in. And Sani had, reminded me of this, 5 or 6 years ago when he did sign me. That's what he wanted to do, and win trophies. And to be honest, you've been very honest at Stranraer, Albion Rovers, as I said, Easter Liston, where teams like that, you don't really expect to be at teams like that and win trophies. Not being too unkind, but realistically, as I say, so it was a wonderful achievement for us winning the league that year. Some great games. Remember some of the games, certainly from the year previous where we missed out on promotion very, very narrowly, and in the manner that we did was very, very cruel. So to make it this year was just a brilliant achievement. I can always remember, the pick, the first part of the Easter Lane game where we clinched promotion. Clinched the league. I always remember Big Snags, Graham Duncan, his 2 wonderful goals, long shots, left footer and a right footer, and Big Lexi scoring that day as well, Lex Grant. So, great day, and at the end, when the whistle had went, we had won the league. We could celebrate and not watch ourselves making an arse of it, pardon the punt, on the television that night. But it was brilliant. Teammates, with such a good side, with Barney Duffy in goals, and Barney was ever so reliable. Big Kenny Brannigan, Jimmy Hughes, Stephen Cody, wee Tucker up front. I mean, Tucker, I think he scored about 25-30 goals that year, and he was just a big part of what we done that season, so it was brilliant. And the celebrations as well, when you look back, going down to Stranraer, being such a remote town, and with the football club being there, the open top bus going through the street, and we had a few good times down there. But after winning the league, it just, it was hard to describe, but it was just great for the people of Stranraer. I mean, they'd waited for it for so long. I seen when I came down initially, I had an injury and wasn't able to play as soon as I signed, and had a knee operation just after I got married, and I could see the supporters, the enthusiasm, and just, the guys used to come and watch, and they'd follow us from Stranraer to Falkirk, Brecon, Arbroath. Remember, a lot of the lads, they used to leave tickets, Big Willie McMillan, his boy, Wee Willie, Big Gordon Irons, Ian Dugan, young David McMillan, his old man, aye, there were lots, and as I say, they came to all the games, and hail, rain or snow, followed us everywhere, but it was great for them, just a brilliant achievement for the whole town, for the football club, and it was great, at the end of it for Sanny McInnesby. As I said, that was the main reason I came to Stranraer, and Sanny was true to his words that we would be successful, and just delighted for him, players, the town, and more importantly, the supporters. Brilliant achievement.
To make things even better, you lifted the Challenge Cup. What was your memories from this time?
Yes, Ryan, winning the Challenge Cup in 1996 was another wonderful achievement for Stranraer Football Club, for the town itself, for all the supporters. The game itself, my memories of that, it was one of the worst days, weather-wise, whatever, it was one of the worst days you could ever get for playing football. Didn't mind playing the rain now and again, but the wind was howling, the rain was battering down, and I do remember that day coming out at Broadwood for the warm-up, and the amount of Stranraer supporters that had followed up. I remember the game at Stennismuir when we thought we'd win the league, I'd got promotion, and hadn't, and there was a great crowd up that day, and it was, just so heartbreaking for them at that time when we didn't get promotion. So to come out to a big crowd like that and go on and win the cup that day was extra special. East Kilbride, where I came from, where I come from, there was so many buses left East Kilbride that day to come and watch the game. An awful lot of friends and family, and it was great for them. I was so happy, my brothers, and my dad, that we won the cup that day, and I was captain and played a part in that. Remember coming out for the warm-up. We came out for the warm-up, and as I say, still blowing. The rain never stopped the whole day, and we came out for the warm-up, went back in again. And I think it was Sanny that said that, we have the referees asked us to change our socks, because we've got white socks and so St Johnstone, so we had to change. So we actually ended up playing in that game. Don't know if too many people know this, but we actually ended up playing in the game in Clyde socks. So I with the nice white top, blue shorts, and it was red and white and black, the Clyde socks that we had on. So at least Clyde can say they were part of a Challenge Cup final as well. So I remember that, changing the socks. Remember coming out at half time. The game itself, we got a hell of a doing. St Johnstone, all departments far better than us. And they were top. I think they were top of the first division at the time, and going strong. As I say, a great side. They're the likes of George Boyle, Roddy Grant, Danny Griffin, Alan Bain, I think was goalkeeper at the time, and a very, very good side. Coming out at half time, I remember they'd given us a hell of a doing in the first half, and we had actually the wind behind our backs in the gale, so we were coming out to defend against the wind, the elements. And I remember coming out at half time and just ready to go back out again, and Roddy Grant looking across and saying, now for the Alamo. And he was 100% correct. It was the Alamo. We were backs to wall. However, fortunate enough to go up the park and I think it was on a corner or a set piece. I jumped with Danny Griffin, the Northern Ireland internationalist, and I jumped with him, but he'd actually come off his head in an own goal into the ground, and the loudspeaker. I'd heard after this, my brothers and that say the loudspeaker gave me the goal at the time, so I'd take that anyway. But as I say, an own goal, and that was one of our few attacks at the park at all, and they came at us again, and it's just, you know, it was the Alamo. However, fortunately enough, we held on, and you know, we won the cup, and so that was the first real national trophy for Stranraer and the people again for the wee town, and a wonderful achievement, you know. And remember that day as well, Jim Black, I think it was the Daily Express, Jim worked with, very, very nice guy, a lovely guy. He was doing his bit on us, and in the dressing room after the game and all the rest of it, and me being captain, speaking to Jim, and the way back in the bus into the town, we were all going out for a night out. Jim gave me £200. I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning that. Maybe his wife will, but gave me £200 to make sure that the boys all got a drink that night. So a wonderful just gesture from Big Jim, and a lovely guy, and you know. Always be, you know, thank him for that. And the night out itself was brilliant. You know, we were just in the pubs and reminiscing and talking of the game, and you know, a few beers, and you know, we get better as the night went on, you know, with a few beers, the more beers that we had. But the next day, actually, I'd been for a holiday at work, and I got a phone call from Sky Sports asking me to go in, because I was captain of Stranraer, we'd win the cup, and asking me to go into the studios, the STV studios, to do a bit with Jim Delahunt and Davy Provan. I thought it was a bit of a wind up at the time, so I told him, no, my wife's got the car, I'm watching the wee one, Lindsay at the time. I wouldn't be able to make it in, you know, because I've not got a car. Kind of get, we'll send a taxi out for you, and we'll get, you know, making sure the taxi takes you back. So got my mother-in-law to come up and watch Lindsay, and I was away in there, and sitting with David Provan and Jim Delahunt talking about the game. So it was great, you know. It was just, he felt like a TV star, and how the other half live, you know. But a great day altogether, and one I'll never forget. Brilliant.
As Tony Gallagher moves forward to collect the trophy. Well, who cares about the rain now?
Okay, Tony Gallagher, Stranraer's captain and longest serving player. The fairy tale's finally come through. Congratulations.
Yeah, it certainly has, Martin. It's unbelievable, really, for the supporters who have travelled up such a bad day. Wasn't the greatest performance. We'd like to put on more of a show, but the end result, you can't ask for any more. And just so happy for all these people that have travelled up to see us.
It was a hard game, wasn't it?
Certainly was. St Johnstone are a good side. The weather didn't really spoil the game a wee bit, I think. They're a good football side, so they didn't get knocking the ball away the way they like to. We're a good football side as well. We didn't get knocking about the way we want to. But we're 1-1 so we're quite happy.
I believe you brought up a couple of busloads of your own family and friends, didn't we, Dolly?
They're in the corner, and I'm just so happy that we've really got the cup, and all my family and friends are there, and as I say, all the people from Stranraer, just so happy.
A long journey back down the road tonight, but you'll enjoy every mile of it.
We'll have a couple of refreshments tonight, so I don't think too many of the bosses will see them in tomorrow, so I'll ask them just now, they're having the day off tomorrow.
You deserve it. Many congratulations. All the best. Away and enjoy yourself. Thanks, Tony.
He played for Stranraer for 10 years and played 209 games, then rewarded with a testimonial. Did this make you proud?
Yes, right, my testimonial, that was against Rangers, 1997. Graham Souness was there at the time as manager, and I do remember Ali McCoist phoning me up to apologise that he wasn't able to manage down the Rangers team or wherever they were going near the end of the season. Souness wanted them all together, so it was a fairly kind of young side that they sent down to play against us. Remember, it wasn't so good for us. The beat us 4-0. A wonderful, it was a really, really hot day. The guys that they had there, remember Maurice Ross. People remember Maurice Ross, the right back. That was his first kind of game for Rangers. He played Barry Ferguson. Was another one. Barry played Barry Ferguson, Barry Nicholson, John Brown himself. John Bomber was down. I've got to know from my East Kilbride days now, a really, really nice guy as well, John Brown. He was down, he was running the team that day. And Brian McGinty, another East Kilbride lad. Brian was just coming through the ranks at Ibrox there, at Rangers, and made a good career for himself as well. Brian did. And I do remember, you know, as a game itself, 4-0 to beat us, didn't really matter, but it was a good crowd in. My testimonial committee, you know, all the guys that worked tirelessly there, especially big Robert Rice. Robert worked, you know, night and day, arranging things for me, and I'll always be indebted to him for that, and thank you, Robert, for that. And the other guys in my testimonial committee, they all know who they are. Don't want to mention too many names in case I leave anyone out. But aye, it was a great occasion. Remember after the game, as I say, the weather was superb, and my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, they got a caravan up at Troon, and myself, my family, all went back to Troon, and the Open was on that day as well, at the golf at Troon. So the helicopters, private jets and everything were flying above us as we were sitting having our barbecue and a couple of beers. So it was a great day all in. So very indebted to Stranraer, and I thank them for, you know, awarding me that testimonial. It meant an awful lot to me, and a wonderful occasion. Thank you.
You scored 17 goals for Stranraer. Is there any goal that stands out?
Yes, Ryan, I was fortunate enough to score 17 goals throughout my time at Stranraer. Goals that stand out in my mind. The year we won the league, playing down at Stranraer against Arbroath. It was a very, very tight, tense occasion because they were up near the top of the league at the time as well. And I managed to score the only goal of the match then. It was a header from a corner kick, but into the kind of top corner. So that was a memorable one to me. Scored 2 against Meadowbank at Stair Park, and one of them I think was about 35 yards, maybe 55, 60, no, it always got longer. But no, a long shot. I remember one of those nestling nicely in the back of the net. But the one that I'll always remember, and I don't know if anybody ever had any footage of it, or it was videoed or, you know, cameraed or whatever. It was a midweek game at Oakview against Stenhousemuir, and I went over a corner kick, and early in the game, and the corner kick came in, went back out again, and went back out. I can't remember, Big Lexi or somebody that took it, and they put it back in again. So one of them had headed it out, and as I was coming out of the box, just near enough the edge of the box, the ball came up in the air, bounced, and I just hit it with my knee, put it up in front of me, and had an overhead kick. 9 out of 10, not a chance that it's going near the goal. To my delight, and everybody else in the Stranraer team landed in the net. So, as I say, didn't see it getting in, but I do know it was a wonderful goal, and take the credit for that. But aye, that's probably the best goal I ever scored playing for Stranraer, yes.
Who's the best player you played against and why?
Best player I played against, Ryan, there were lots. Very, very good players. I was very fortunate to grace some of the pitches along such company. As I said earlier in my video, the George Conley that used to play with Celtic, I remember with me being a Celtic supporter in the 70s and watching this guy, and I know at the time the Rangers had You know, Jim Baxter played in the late 60s and all that kind of thing. So these two guys were very similar type players. But George Conley, just an unbelievable player. Played against him, as I say, for Socky in the Junior Cup just before the quarter final. Wonderful player. Charlie Nicholas was another one, very cocky, confident, would try things. I loved just, you know, he wasn't frightened to try anything at all from anywhere in the park, and you know, was a brilliant player as well. Played against him a few times with Celtic, and when he went to Clyde latterly as well, you know, so that was another brilliant player. Ali McCoist, natural finisher, and you know, as I say, growing up with him and playing against him all those years at boys club level, and watching him go through, you know, from St Johnstone to Sunderland to Rangers, and a nicer guy you will never meet in your life. As I say, me being a Celtic supporter, saying that a bit, but I still meet him today, and you know, he's never changed and deserved all the kind of the life that he's had, and such a nice guy. As I say, you'll never meet a better guy. So that was another one, wonderful player, wonderful guy, and just, you know, glad to call a friend. But natural finisher, brilliant player. Terry Butcher, big leader, led by example, England captain, Rangers captain, a wonderful centre half. And me being a centre half, I always looked at guys like that and, you know, respected and you know, watched what they've done. Probably the best player I ever played against would be Ray Wilkins. Ray Wilkins, AC Milan, Manchester United, Chelsea. Been there, done it. Played against him in that infamous Scottish Cup tie 1989 where Rangers beat us 8-0 in the Ibrox. He was playing, and just one of these guys, you know, never get near any of them that day, to be honest, but one of these guys you couldn't get near. You know, he's seen range of passing, he could hit a ball, you know, he could both feet. Only thing he couldn't really do was header a ball, but he had everything. Yeah, just a good player, a really good player, and that's probably the best player, I would say, Ray Wilkins, that I've ever played against in my life.
Best 1 to 11 players you've played with?
Good question, Ryan. Best 11 that I've ever played with in my day. Goalkeeper, obviously, Barney Duffy. Barney was a legend. Another one, get a testimonial down there, and rightly so. I think he's still involved with the club, but a wonderful guy and even better goalkeeper. Played behind me all those years, and you know, he was like a sweeper. When I first got to know Barney when he signed, and you know, he was saying, if I come for a ball and I'll shout, if I shout it's mine, just get out of the road because I'm going to punch you as well if you don't get out of the road. And that's the kind of goalkeeper he was, and you know, you could just duck and you knew he was there, and just, you know, great shot stopper, good with his feet as well, better with his mouth. And you know, another, you know, we were blessed with characters, and you know, at Stranraer in my time down there, and Barney was certainly one of those, and a great friend, and I still, you know, speak to Barney now and again, and you know, I've met with him a few times, junior games and whatever. So Barney Duffy would be my goalkeeper. Jim McCann came from Ayr United 2 or 3 years into my signing there, and Jim was a great player, you know, up and down the wing, good crosser of the ball, and you know, most importantly, a good defender as well. So Jim would be my right back. Centre half and sweeper, a 4-3-3, we get a 4-3-3 formation. Centre half and sweeper. Centre half, Big Kenny Brannigan. Big Kenny was a great man to have in your team. Very vocal, that big distinctive voice of his, come on Stranraer. Very vocal and a great big lad as well, but good man to have in your team, as I say. Great header of the ball, very hard to tackle, could pass a ball, and a great talker as well, as I say. So Kenny being my centre half. My sweeper would be Brian Ahern. Brian I played with at Albion Rovers, and he was a great player with Clyde for many, many years, and a legend there. And he was on his way out, but Brian, as I started as centre forward in midfield, and then played in front of Brian in the midfield, and he was just a great talker, could read the game like a book, and just another nice guy. His passing ability and reading of the game was exceptional. So Brian would be my sweeper. Left back choice there, so many. Dan Black. Dan was another great player. Played with us, coming from Kilmarnock, St Mirren, Airdrie. I met Tam actually. I played with Tam when it was one of my trial games out for Airdrie, the one I said earlier on that I got injured in. And a lovely guy as well, but Tam was a wonderful player. But Derek Crawford was another one, played in the cup final, the Challenge Cup winning team. Was another, smashing left back. And then one of the best, Big Graham Hay. Graham, probably should have gone on to bigger and better things. He did go on to bigger things, of course he did. But, at the time Liverpool were looking at him and, bigger clubs. He ended up going to Falkirk and, played there and had a very, very good career. But for me, my left back would be Jim Hughes. Jim Hughes was character, great player, strong as an ox, vocal, and a great man to have in your team when the chips were down or you're in the trenches. I remember one of the games playing against Airdrie. I was fortunate enough, we went up the park in the first minute and I scored for my header, corner kick, 1-0. And this was the year we'd just been promoted, and Airdrie, had come from the Premier League and been kicking lumps out of Celtic and Rangers. So we gave as good as we got, but unfortunately, the game after me scoring that 1-0, we went down to about 4-5-1, and Jimmy said to come on, let's have bodies, and we did. And there was three sent off. Big Lexi ended up kicking somebody up the backside, running after them. It was nearly like Lexi, and can't remember. Big Kenny Brannigan. I don't know. Big Kenny, I don't know, get sent off. But anyway, with 3 men sent off, ended up losing the game 8-1. So, but Jim Hughes, a great man to have in your team, and great player and a hell of a nice guy with it as well. Midfield with Robert Docherty. Then there was a few could have put in there, but Robert Docherty was, we came down for a couple of seasons to Stranraer. Very, very talented player, great, mobile, and very, very quick feet, and a wonderful guy and a character having the dressing room as well. So he'd been my right side of midfield. Middle of the park, there's so many good ones that I could think of that I played with, and but probably because if he watches this video, he'll be on the phone to me wondering why he's not on my team, So wee Ian Macaulay, wee Collie, was brilliant. He came to us, he was a wee pocket dynamo. I liked to noise people up, and he was a good man to have in your team. And there was another wee one that, got him down the park and wasn't frightened of a tackle, and a character, more than a character. But really good man to have in your team. So we call it be my main man in the middle of the park. On the left side, I had a few to pick from there as well. He's just, Paul McIntyre that came from St Mirren, Hughes, and those other ones as well. But my left side would probably be Dan Henderson. Dan, he was there when I signed. Sanny just signed him not long after myself. He came from Clyde, a swap deal with Noxie actually. It was Noxie, I think, the swap deal. Noxie went one way, Dan came to us the other way. And a brilliant player, one of the best left foot I've seen since David Cooper at Rangers. David Cooper was just a magician with that left peg of his, but Dan was very, very similar. Could whip corners and whip free kicks and, and, he was an athlete. It annoyed me at times because, I was never the quickest, as most people will know, and, I could be at training towing a caravan, but Darren's still running beside me. And I'm going, Darren, what are you doing? Well, oh, Gal, it's all right, we'll get there. But, for the talent that he had, I remember him going down to Sunderland on trial, and they wanted to sign him. Gabby Ardini and all that played with Sunderland at the time, but Dan wanted to come back up and play with his pals. He said, just happy to play football. A wee boy out in the swing back, But wonderful talent, and I still see Dan. He's manager of Hurlford now. He's had a great career, and that's one of the least guys that you'd ever expect to be a manager. He always done the wrong things and had Sanny tearing his hair out at times, but he's made a great success of being a manager. He's been at a few junior clubs, but as I say, now he's at Hurlford and won the Junior Cup with him as well. So, Dan was my left-sided player. Up front, three up front, talking of people that have become successful managers you never have thought of, wee Tucker, wee Tommy Sloan. I mean, the year we won the league, Tucker was the main reason. The goals that he scored and his ability of holding the ball up and giving you a race when you were under pressure at the back. You could take any corner and run away with it, But Tucker scored some smashing goals. Even with his head as well for such a small guy. But, I played against Tucker as well before, and, at training games, and he was a hell of a man to try and pick up and mark at times. So Tucker will be my up front man. Billowing as well, you had the likes of Rusty, Big Cookie, all these guys that played up front. But for me, my centre forward, along with Tucker, would be Bernie Slavin. Bernie was at Albion Rovers with me, and Bernie was a great player. Bernie ended up going down to Middlesbrough. He's a legend down there, still a legend. He's just does the radio, all that kind of thing down there. But Bernie was at Albion Rovers, and the year we won, we were near enough bottom of the league, but Bernie scored first. People remember the Daily Show, the champagne thing, the Champagne Charlie Nicholas won it one year, the first man to hit 30 goals, got a crate of champagne and all that kind of thing. So Bernie won that as a team that were near enough the bottom of the league, and he was just a phenomenal player. He was like a Laudrup, Larson type. He'd be, you just set him up, running through and goal, and he would just slide them under the goalkeeper. Such ease, brilliant player. As I've bumped into him a couple of times since our playing days, and another guy, never ever touched a drink of alcohol, never drank alcohol, or just an athlete as well. And as I say, he's still down Middlesbrough, doing his bit for the radio and all that kind of thing. Brilliant guy. Last but not least, my other front man would be, Big Lexi Grant. Lex was a legend at Stranraer. Great player. Played against him at Queen's Park, and for someone, big lad, big frame, but quick, very, very quick, over 10 yards. Never liked training. No, there's not too many like training, but Big Lexi was, always wanting the ball, but given the ball and you couldn't get it off him. Just a magician. Just free kicks, corner kicks. If you're running down the clock, give it to Alexi. He'll run in the corner, save you a bit of time. But he scored some wonderful goals for us as well, and a smashing big guy. Good crack, always fun to be with. And but as I say, an unbelievable player, and someone had a great career out of the game, but like Darren, was another one that I always thought could have went higher and higher, and I'm talking top league teams, and Lexi was he was one of those players, as I say, along with Darren, but that's my 11 anyway, Ryan, the best of the 11 that I ever played with, and fortunate enough to play with, and I thank all these guys that I've mentioned for helping me make a career out of it as well.
Who's the best manager you've played under?
Good question, Ryan. Best manager that I've ever played under. Played under quite a few. Albion Rovers, I actually played under 13 managers, believe it or not, in the 6 year that I was there. Old Tom Fagan, the chairman, Mr. Fagan, he liked to pick the team and have a say in it every week. So needless to say, managers get a bit fed up with that. But to name but a few, Albion Rovers, Martin Ferguson, as I say, brother of Sir Alec. Martin signed me, he was a great manager. Davy Provan, that used to play with Rangers, was another smashing manager that I played under. Joe Baker, Joe played at Hibs, Torino, a legend. Brilliant manager, nice guy, all nice guys that I played under there. Big Andy Ritchie. Andy was a wonderful player. That was one that I might have had in my team as well, but I couldn't put him and Lexi in the same team. Wouldn't get much work rate done out of them two, but Big Andy was a great manager, and he played with us as well, as for a short spell, and was just a brilliant guy. He actually converted me from centre forward midfield into a centre half, so a lot to thank Andy for as well. And I have met him a couple of times since our playing days and playing together. Big Tommy Gemmell, Lisbon Lion, legend. Unfortunately not with us now, but he was another man that I had an awful lot of time and respect for. Brilliant manager, knew the game inside out, and been there and done it. I mean, many guys can say that I've played under a manager that scored in 2 European, as they call it now, Champions Cup finals, but another great manager, and, loved working under him. Campbell Money, Campbell, 3 years out of my tennis Stranraer, Campbell come down, was always organised, and, don't get in the wrong side of him either. Wild man, once you roused him. And there was one or two done that, I just done my job and try to go in with the best of my ability, so I didn't rouse him up too much. But there was one or two that could get him going. But great manager, always into detail on the opposition, and you knew before you went out who was picking up at corners, who was picking up outside the box at free kicks, who was doing this, who was doing that. Great attention to detail, and a really, really good manager that I worked under. But to me, the best and the main reason I ended up, as I said earlier, down at Stranraer was Sanny McInnesby. Sanny was brilliant. Sanny just did it all. Attention to detail, knew about the opposition, knew their strengths, knew their weaknesses, done a lot of homework in games beforehand, and you knew about the opposition. But more than not, Sanny just worried about ourselves and had us fired up. And confidence in yourself. I mean, Sanny he was a great manager as well. Sanny knew how to treat folk. He treated them like he wanted to be treated himself, and he was one of these managers that if you weren't playing, he was still an arm round you, or still, looking to console you, or looking to lift you more than anything else, to make sure that you were training harder and you've got a chance of being in the team the next week. So he was one of these managers that, as I say, great man management skills, great tactician, and winning that league was just tremendous, and he thoroughly deserved it, just as much as what the team did. He put that team together. He told me from the off what he was going to do, and he managed to do that. So for me, Ryan, best manager that I've ever played under and worked under, and a gentleman and a friend as well. And I still speak to Sanny now and again. I've bumped into him at a few junior games, and love the man to bits. And as I say, the best manager that I've ever worked under.
Are you still involved in football?
I'm not involved in football anymore. Certainly at the present, Ryan. Probably gladly so at this certain, the way things are going just now with COVID-19. I wouldn't like to be involved either playing or coaching. It's a sad time for football and life in general, but certainly us guys that have played all our days, so not involved just now. But I had, when I stopped playing, assisted Sanny down at Cumnock. Assisted Tam McDonald, a friend from East Kilbride who's Auchinleck manager at the time. So out of the frying pan into the fire, like the old firm there going from Celtic to Rangers at Cumlock and then at Auchinleck. But we managed to get to a Junior Cup final with Auchinleck, and for once Auchinleck, they don't lose too many Junior Cup finals, but unfortunately for Tam and I, Linlithgow Rose at the time were spending big, and a very, very good side. And 2003, I think it was, where Linlithgow beat us at Firhill, you know. Wee Macaulay, who we signed at Auchinleck at the time, was playing with us as well, you know, so another Stranraer boy and playing a junior final. What else? I was the assistant manager to Jimmy Kerr. Jimmy was a legend at Partick Thistle, Falkirk, Stirling Albion, and a hell of a nice guy, you know, so I was assistant to Jimmy at East Kilbride Thistle, and we done okay there as well, and that was it really. Still keep in touch with some of my ex-teammates. See John McNiven, John, when I signed at Stranraer, John was there. Another smashing player, smashing lad, Ayr United, Clyde, Stenhousemuir as well. The latter stages of his playing, so I still see John in and about East Kilbride. Robert regularly, Robert, I think everybody sees Robert, they hear him. Still hear from Robert now and again, phone calls, and another great lad, wee Tommy Walker. Wee Tommy still staying in Castlemilk, bumped into him a few times. Wee Ian Macaulay, of course, as well. Unfortunately, the last I saw him was at his father's funeral. That was the last I saw wee Ian. Derek Crawford was another East Kilbride lad. Bump into Derek, he looks after one of the big, he's an area manager for one of the big gymnasiums, you know, so speak to him down again. And John Donnelly, I've met John, he's still down, Tam Donnelly, that I spoke about earlier on. That's his brother John, who's a great player. He was at Celtic when we were there as well, and ended up at Leeds United, so I see him down now and again at Tollcross. So I still keep in touch with some of the guys, and great to see them now and again. As we're all getting older, you forget.
Do you have any funny football stories?
Football funny stories, Ryan. Remember at Albion Rovers, remember we going, I think it was up to Arbroath or Montrose one Saturday morning. I think it was wee Victor Casale. You know, we're on our way journeying in the bus. And I don't know if it was wee Willie Miller who done, you know, just the coach driver. The buses were never Parks of Hamilton type, you know, and you're up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down all the time. Any bump you went over at all, you felt it, you know. But wee Victor shouted to Frank Ness. Frank was our physiotherapist at the time, and a lovely guy, another nice guy. I was fortunate to play with all these, and you know, under these people, all nice people. Wee Frank, physiotherapist, and Victor shouts up to him, Nessie, I've got a splitting headache. Have you anything in your case that I can maybe have just now? And wee Nessie, oh, let me check. So he goes away up to his bag and looks in his bag, his wee case of goodies. Didn't have any paracetamol or nothing. But he shouted down to Victor, he goes, no, I've not got nothing just now. I'm really sorry, but Monday night I'll bring a box of paracetamol on Monday night to training, and I'll give you a couple then, okay? Sure, his head would have been away by that time, but there you go, wee Nessie, aye, he's a bit of a character. One that stands out, Jimmy Hughes. Can still see Jimmy swirling that strip around his head the year we thought we'd get promoted. He's up in the stand at Stenhousemuir, top off, six-pack out, and thought we'd win the league. I can still see him. That was funny. And we gave him a wee bit of a ribbon for that, just a wee bit. Big Kenny Brannigan, Big Kenny's interview. We were due to play Rangers again down at Stair Park in the League Cup. So the cameras had been following us for a couple of weeks. and they come in in the dressing room that day and come in and wanted a word with Big Kenny. So Big Kenny goes out and has his interview. I think it was a BBC Camera Sports Scene for the Saturday night. And Kenny comes back in, and then that big kind of distinctive voice of his comes in the dressing room door. Right lads, set your videos for tonight. Sports Scene 10:30. You're all dazzling the telly. Get your videos set. Jimmy Hughes or someone started sounding going, well, I hope you weren't dressed like that, big man. Big Kenny had a cardigan on, and he was in that much of a hurry to get out to get the interview done. The first button was tied to this third button, tying the hole for the forces. His cardigan was like that all over the show. Oh no, I don't believe it. Big man's gutted, but needless to say, we go, yes, big man, we'll all set our recorders. So, right enough that night, we saw the interview. Big man was great, however, unfortunately for him, the cardigan was up there like that while he was getting interviewed, you know, so that was another funny one, Big Kenny. But we've had some good old days at Stranraer, and lots of laughs as he's saying, good. So thanks for having me, Ryan. Thoroughly enjoyed time with you. You're an up-and-coming Jim Delahunt or Jim White, hopefully to you on Sky, maybe a few years' time. But I'd like to thank you for having me, as I say. Big thanks to Stranraer Football Club for putting up with me for 10 years and having me down there. You know, I've thoroughly enjoyed them. Wonderful people, wonderful town, and as I say, the supporters, second to none. And I wish them all the success in the world, going forward. To all the committee that I worked under, an awful lot, too many to mention. Great guys, tirelessly work behind the scenes and put an awful lot of work into it. And I know, Ian Dugan's the chairman down there now, and I know the work he puts into it as well. And as I said earlier as well, a supporter, and it'll be a dream for him being a chairman. So I wish them all the very, very best for that. The two ladies, Jeanette and Sandra, were second to none, always down with a smile on their face, so they coming in and always kept you right as well. The groundsman, wee Darky, Molson, I know wee Darky's no longer with us, but the work that they guys put in was unbelievable, and so I thank them for that as well. And my good friend and chauffeur for 10 years, Stuarty Marshall. Stuarty and Marshall coaches, everybody knows Stuarty, and just a lovely guy. Have met him once or twice since stopped playing, but you forget now how long it is since you did stop playing, and we're all getting older, as I say. But most of all, to you, the supporters, unbelievable crowd, and thank everybody for treating me the way they did in all my time down at Stranraer, and I wish everybody all the very, very best of luck for the future. Thanks very much again, Ryan, and good luck for the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony, for this week's interview. I highly appreciate it. I can't wait to see you at Stranraer soon and hear more of your stories. Everyone, remember to like and subscribe, and when I hit 150 subscribers, I'll be giving this ball away. Thank you. Bye.